Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. How's everybody getting along? Well, we got a cold air blast here. You know, most of you are pretty familiar with these. We had one just before Christmas up here in the northern plains and much of the east. Well, this one's going to be confined mainly to the lakes, the northeast here, and the upper Midwest. Take a look at this. This is for your Saturday morning at 4 a.m. Take a look at this. So most of the Gulf Coast areas will be okay, but look at this. 20s and 30s on here into parts of the deep south. But it's up here into parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Take a look at this. This is where you're going to be seeing a tremendous amount of cold air. Now, take a look at this. Yeah, the wind is going to be howling, so your wind chills are going to be crazy. But 7 a.m., here we go. This is where you're going to see pretty much the worst of it. You can see pretty much north of this line. This is where you're going to see negative 10s. Negative single digits south of this line, and then north of this line, negative 20s, and do I dare say it, even some negative 30s up here into northern New England. Wind chills will be crazy, 20, 30, 40 below, in some areas maybe approaching 50 below into northern New England. But you know what? I got news for you. This is going to be a fading memory as we get this warming trend back east here. Take a look at this. Watch how quickly things warm up throughout the week. Look at this. By Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll be approaching the 50s, and do I dare say it, some 60s here into parts of the east. Is this going to last, and for how long? Let's get into it. All right, so taking a look at temperature-wise here on the HRRR model, take a look at this. Yeah, there's that big old cold wave blasting. You can see. Look at how quick we go from like just before midnight Friday. Look at those 20s in the Northeast. Look how they're quickly replaced by single digits as we get throughout the morning, and those temperatures just fall throughout the day on Friday. Look at that, and you can see it doesn't make it too far south here. The freezing line makes it this far south, so you're really stuck with negative temperatures up here in the Northeast. All right, so let me show you this big old wall of cold. Here it is, Thursday evening. Look at, here it comes. This is just after midnight. Look at this. So yeah, your highs are actually going to be during the real early morning hours up here in parts of the Northeast. Watch how quickly this wall of cold just plummets. There is just right around sunrise. So you go from, the single digits, teens, down plummeting into the single digits. Look at this. This is crazy. This is like 3 hours before noon here. Look at this. You're down into the single digits, and look at this. Negative 20s up here into parts of northern New England. And as we continue, those single digits propagate all the way down into the lower Hudson Valley, right around New York City, eastern Pennsylvania here. Look at this. 1 degree there in Binghamton, negative 2, and Syracuse 0, right around Albany. This is for your noon hour. So your temperatures will be plummeting throughout the day. You're going to get this reinforcing shot of cold air. Negative 20s. Look at the state of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine is completely below zero. And as we get into Friday night here, watch how quickly this cold air intensifies. Yeah, we're getting all the way down into the negative single digits. New York City right around 1 or 0 degrees. Boston, negative 10s. Negative 10 there in Albany. Look at that. Saranac Lake, negative 31. And all the way up here into northern Maine and New Hampshire, negative 30s. That is crazy. And we only warm up just a tad here into your Saturday. Now let's take a look at wind chills. Are you ready for this? These winds are going to be howling. Look at this. This gets really, really dangerous Friday. As we head throughout the day, this is what's really going to get you. You're seeing that right. Negative 50s up here into parts of northern Maine and New Hampshire. Negative 20s, Binghamton up to Albany. Olean, New York. Syracuse, New York. Down around single digits, New York City. Boston right around negative 18. Look at this. This just re-intensifies overnight. As we go into Saturday morning, look at this. Negative wind chills. Pretty much the entire state of Pennsylvania here for the most part. Look at this. Negative 20s and negative 30s over here into New England. This is crazy wind chills up here. Look at that. It's negative 61 up here. Negative 60. Negative 62 up here in northern Maine. That's a lot of wind there, and that will do a number on you if you're out there with exposed skin. All right, so take a look at your future radar here. Yep, there's not much going on. It's around the edges here. Out west, you got this system waiting off the west coast. Not a lot happening in the middle. We got some rainfall in the deep south here, but look at this. This is our much advertised Arctic blast. Take a look at this. Yeah, there's going to be a squall of snow here, 11 p.m. Thursday evening. Watch as we put this into motion. It's crazy how fast this rolls through. Probably maybe some thunder and lightning, Binghamton area around midnight. And then we cruise towards northeast Pennsylvania, Catskills, parts of the Hudson Valley, Poconos by 3 a.m. there. Take a look at that. So behind this, the winds shift horribly to the northwest, and you're going to be getting this massive blast. Now, it doesn't really meet up with this southern storm. You know, the timing is all off. There's just not going to be that sort of play here with these two systems. So that's going to allow this low pressure to slide essentially off the coast like this. So there's not going to be much fanfare here, not near the coastline here. One thing to note, the cold air is just so prevalent. Look what sets up behind it here, a rare event, some ocean effect snow. Look at these bands of ocean effect snow setting up. It might affect places like Nova Scotia up here. Pretty interesting, but take a look at this. This is that boring pattern that sets in. Out west here, you'll be dealing with some lowering mountain snow, some valley rain. And look at this, as we kick on through the rest of Friday into Saturday. Yeah, you get some lake effect bands. Take a look at that. Parts of northeastern Ohio. So yeah, you will see a lake response to this. You might see a couple inches. I would say places from Cleveland, Akron, all the way up through the Tug Hill here. Definitely watch out. You might see a couple inches out of this. And you'll probably see a generalized inch or less here inland with that Arctic blast Thursday night and early Friday morning. So definitely watch out for that. But, you know, for the most part, this is not a system to write home about, except for those wind chills that are going to be kicking in behind that system. And look at that. As we head towards the rest of Saturday, it's not looking like a massively active pattern here at all. All right, so HRRR model snowfall. Let's take a look, see how much is going to fall out of this system. You can see it here. It is mostly along that snow squall line along the front, mainly northwestern Pennsylvania into upstate New York, you know, just east of Erie up towards Warren, Jamestown, Olean, Rochester, Syracuse, Binghamton, Ithaca, Elmira, Watertown. These areas up towards Saranac Lake, you might see 1 to 2 inches of quick snowfall accumulation Thursday night into early Friday morning. And let's take a look at the 500 millibar flow pattern. We'll see what's going on upstairs so we can figure out what could be going on downstairs on the ground. So let's see. We head into the weekend there. There's that trough lifting out. So you got this ridge out west, trough in the east. Watch how quickly we change places here. As we go out in time, we go on to Sunday and into Monday. Look at this big old trough plowing into the west coast. We start to see evidence of that ridge back east here. So watch this. Let's just zoom in just slightly here. We'll get a better idea what's going on. And look at this. Yeah. Are you starting to see it? Big old broken record. Colorado low pattern. You know the drill. Big old rain event back east here, pulling up those warmer temperatures I showed you earlier in the segment. Take a look at that. Yep, there's that Colorado low kicking here across the central states. And that's going to head on through Wednesday into Thursday. That's going to spread all of that big old warm air here up into the northeast. The only places that may be getting snow are up here in the upper Midwest. Here's another piece of energy dropping in behind it in the Intermountain West. And look at that. This just is setting us up here for this trough out west and this ridge back east. That old high pressure here protecting Florida. Many of you have been complaining about how hot it is, approaching almost 90 in South Florida. That's crazy to even think about. But look at this. Yeah, that's Sunday. There's evidence that maybe this ridge starts to break down slightly, but look at that. There's the low pressure. That's still going to bring you a rain event back east here. So all in all here, it's just, if you're into snow, it's just not happening back east here. So taking a look at the high-resolution European model, you can see here as we go throughout the weekend, this northern stream low and the southern stream branch do not phase together. They do not give us that perfect phasing. They just slide off, and high pressure just builds in behind it. Look at all that ocean effect snow out there behind it, though, on the east side of this high-pressure system. Now, out west, you get that next system, as I showed you before here. And take a look at this. Back east, high pressure building in. You're going to be getting on the backside of high pressure by Tuesday. There is that southern plains low just south of Colorado. You watch this. This is going to head up to the north pretty quickly here. And as we go throughout time, you can see the same old song and dance we've seen time and time again. This low pressure moves up to the upper Midwest. We start to occlude this system so it weakens, and we start to get this southerly flow back east at record high temperatures for this time of year. And look at this. We get a potential severe weather outbreak with this next low pressure system heading across the south, another system heading on into the western part of the United States. And as we get towards Saturday, February 11th here, this low is more of a Mississippi River low. Take a look at this. It's kind of be heading towards the east here. And that's that one system I showed you up in the upper level pattern that was a little interesting, but you know what? It's got very little cold air to work with. This high pressure system will be retreating to the northeast. We might see initially some snow up here into northern New England, but that will quickly fade away. And what are we looking at for total liquid equivalent precipitation? It's mostly here across the southeast. We'll have some out west out here with this system too, especially northern California, northwestern Washington. Here across the southeast, we'll see anywhere from about 3/4 of an inch to 1 1/2 inches before that system moves off towards the Atlantic Ocean. We'll see some snow up here into parts of the northeast. It won't amount to too much liquid equivalent, however, a couple inches. But there out west, there is that system moving in. And as we go throughout time here, you see the same old places get the same amount of heavy precipitation. Out west, we just keep dumping all this mountain snow valley rain. And in the southeast here, we'll get that severe weather pattern. And we do get some rainstorms up here into parts of the northeast. Now, let's take a look at your snowfall here. We'll take a look at that. And you can see this takes us through Tuesday. There's that system up there in the northeast, bringing you a couple inches of snow. Out here out west, you see that heavy mountain snow. That's where a lion's share of the snowfall is going to be falling the next 2 weeks. And then you see with that Colorado low, you're going to get some snow out here next week out here in the Plains states. All right, so let's take a look at worldwide temperatures here, that you're getting an idea of the trends here. This is what is going on. See, we have this big old trough here across Eastern Asia, especially affecting, parts of Japan here. The problem here is with the east, you're not lined up properly, because when Japan and Korea and these areas are lined up with the heavy snow, that particularly lines more of the northern plains, Rocky Mountains, parts of the west up. Same over here into Eastern Europe. So you're seeing some, above average snowfall over here, colder temperatures. So we need to see this move a little bit back towards the west, so you'd get more, this type of flow, so that you'd be able to get, some of this Siberian effect. Then you get a big old ridge, and then you get this big old trough, and then a big old ridge, and then a big old trough, and then a big old ridge here. That's usually how you want it to line up for heavy snow, especially across Eastern North America. That's just not happening. Let's go out and see if we get any of that sort of flow. Well, there's that big cold air wave across the east as we get into the weekend, but watch how quickly that just erodes. What's going on over here into parts of Japan? Well, you see Japan, it's pretty cold. Basically the flux of this trough here, you can see it. And here across North America, you're kind of completely void here for the most part, except up into far northern Canada. And look at Eastern Europe over here. You're gripped in some really intense cold and snow. Western Europe, there's some record warmth there. So, look at this. This is, it's great on your heating bills, to say the least, there in Western Europe and parts of Eastern North America. But look at this. Yeah, this just continues. This is through the 12th of February. You can see there it is. Now, you do see some evidence that there's some cold air pooling here in Eastern North America, but look at this ridge. It's just keeping you there's a ridge right here. Many of you in Florida are kind of complaining about it. Well, that's what's going on there. And there it is, warmth in Western Europe. Cold continues. I don't see this pattern breaking down anytime soon. All right, so as we get into the 500 millibar anomaly upper level flow, let's take a look here. Actually, let's get over to the high resolution Euro here. You can take a look at this. So here we go. Yeah, so there's that system moving out of Eastern North America, and look at that's that flow pattern I was showing you earlier on in the segment, that basically that trough out west and that ridge really blasting here across the east. And as you can see, it is going to be a massive firecracker furnace here back east, and this is going to promote those Colorado lows. We'll see these systems from the Pacific Northwest dive across the Intermountain West and head up through the Midwest and up towards the St. Lawrence Valley or even northward. So yeah, this is the pattern we're stuck in, and this is the one we're probably going to have to live with for quite some time. So I just wanted to show you the entire northern hemisphere here. It really gives us a good idea of how stubborn things are. You could basically see these same areas, these ridges, these big old troughs here across, much just west of Alaska, providing Japan with those snows. That big old ridge across Western Europe, that trough across Eastern Europe. Watch this. Just watch those areas as we go in time. Not much changes here. This is like a total broken record as we go through the rest of February here. You can see there's literally no changes here that you can see. All right, so going into the medium-term climate CFS model, let's take a look. We'll go through the rest of February here. Let's see if there's anything. The CFS is kind of hinting maybe there might be some sort of pattern change towards the middle of the month, but that quickly fizzles out. It looks like maybe towards the third week of February here, potentially things start looking a little bit more trophy here into parts of the east. But look at this. This just gives me kind of no hope for any people that want snow, because look at that ridge just stubbornly builds over towards the first part of March. And as we head throughout the month of March here, as we get into about March 6th, it doesn't really look like much has changed. Although there is something of note here, up here towards, Alaska, the Aleutian Islands here. If I can get my pencil to work here, there it is. So up here, there is a ridge starting to form. Whether this actually takes shape, if this actually is a trend, this might actually give us some sort of maybe pattern change down the road here. And you see this ridge developing out west here too. We'll have to keep an eye on this as we go throughout the month of March. All right, so for my Atlantic viewers, Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, Central America, all my friends down here, you are looking A-OK. Enjoy this time of year, because the tropics will be here before you know it. And let's take a look at the Western Pacific here. What is going on? Well, it's looking pretty A-OK here from the Philippines up to Taiwan, South China, Vietnam, heading westward here. Not too much to talk about at the moment, but let's continue in time here. You're looking at a pretty good week here across the Philippines. Yeah, it's not too much to talk about as we head through Monday, February 6th. We do have some activity waiting off the screen, though. Take a look at this intertropical convergence zone really kicking up here down to the south and to the east. And will any of these systems kick up? Well, look at this. By about the time Friday, February 10th, you'll get a few showers rolling in. This up here in Japan, this is a northern stream system. You've been getting a lot of snow up here as of late. So yeah, it's a much colder, snowier pattern setting up here into the Japanese area. But here it is here into the Western Pacific. We don't have too much to talk about. Look at that. Is an interesting feature. See, this is why we have to watch it this time of year, because we get some sort of flare-up by the 11th here. We'll have to watch this area and see if there's any tropical development that would occur. But look at the Philippines over there on the left-hand corner of your screen. You're going to see some really, really nice weather here. Look at this. This is through the 17th. I'm happy to report there's not too much to talk about. It looks like some of these tropical waves and stuff kind of spin off and are caught up in the westerlies up here. So that is some great news. I'll let you know if anything changes with that. But look at that. You might be looking at a pretty quiet February here. And Jim here from the Groton, Connecticut area. Take a look at this. Seeing some snowflakes here back on January 31st, last day of January here. Look at this beautiful shot here. You can see the snowflakes coming down. One of his biggest, it looks like one of his biggest dustings of the season so far. It hasn't seen many chances for snow, and look at that. Finally laying there on the grassy surfaces, looking really nice. Almost like that. It's that magical feeling that you feel when you get these snowfalls. Hopefully we can actually get some real decent accumulating snow for you sometime soon, but we'll definitely be thankful of this. Look at this accumulating on the trees as well. Just really gives a beautiful view, and that nice, that the way the air becomes, how clean it becomes when you get the snow showers, falling across the area. And as you head towards noon and beyond, it cleared, and you can see that sun. Look at the beautiful clouds in the blue sky. Nice capture there. You can almost see almost kind of a haloing effect around the sun you get this time of year with that lower sun angle, but just a beautiful shot. You can see it's really chilly out the way it should be this time of year. Beautiful clouds, cirrus clouds, altocumulus rolling in here. And as we continue out here on the water, this is a really nice capture as well, Jim. Look at that. All these nice cirrus clouds, all this altocumulus rolling in, and just a beautiful shot, nice and chilly. And it's a sunset. beautiful sunsets this time of year, all those orangish colors, and ending it here behind the clouds. Sun rays moving through those clouds, multi-layers, just beautiful here. Looks like a nice day out there, Jim. Nice captures and a magical start to the day with some snow, accumulating snow. All right, so I wanted to show you the temperature trends here with the European model. You get the feeling over the weekend. I showed you this already, all those temperatures, those cold temperatures, but as we go throughout next week, there's Sunday into Monday. Here's the high temperatures. You're pretty much going, look at that 40-degree line pushing all the way up into parts of the Northeast to Mid-Atlantic here, pretty much eroding all that cold air there in the northern plains. But look how that heads east for your Tuesday. Look at these highs. This is getting well up into the 40s and 50s up into parts of the Northeast. That 60-degree line pushing almost all the way up to the Mason-Dixon line. And there's your overnight lows into Wednesday morning and then Wednesday afternoon. Look at this. Just back that up one frame. That is craziness. Mid to upper 40s, near 50 in many areas of the Northeast, 54 there in New York City. Look at these 70s and 80s poking their way all the way up into the Mid-Atlantic. And as we head into Thursday of next week, there it is. That is craziness. Look at that 40-degree line all the way up into the Canadian border. 50s, way up here into the Northeast. It's just not feeling like winter here. The following weekend, Saturday, yeah, you're up into the 40s and 50s up here into the Northeast. You get some colder air diving down into the plains, but you know what? We're still holding on to warmth here in the east. Extended outlook from hometown viewers being under the Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley Friday through Tuesday. Look at this. Friday and Saturday. Wind chills negative 20 to 30 below. Wind chill warnings are in effect. Windy, blasting temperatures. Your early high near 9 on Friday. Temperature falling to near 3 by the evening. Look at that. Getting down towards negative 3 for Saturday morning. Just downright dangerous with those wind chills. Only not 19 for a high, but warm front moving through Saturday night into Sunday. Clouds rolling in 43 degrees into Monday. 39, maybe a few peaks of sun, but Tuesday we get a massive warm front blasting in with windy conditions, southwest winds 48 degrees. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern and Weather Eastern. Don't forget Facebook MeteoMark, Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern, at Susquehanna Weather for my local page, and guess what? MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com is Twitter, at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, question or comment down below, smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell button, share the video, and thanks for joining me.